Greetings and welcome to another exciting edition of Poet to Poet. I hope your insurance is paid up because ours is. I'm Robert Dunn and I'm the host of this taffy poll, and we have another couple of interesting characters to present to you. We have a very serious and elegant, I might add, poet in the person of Michael Graves over here, and we have an uncannily talented instrumentalist in Frank Farrar. I'll give you one guess as to what his instrument is. Yeah. And it is kind of obvious. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let's start then with Michael Graves, who has a bio that many of us would kill for, and some of us have, as a matter of fact. And let's see, a former student of James Wright. When did you get your pilot's license?
The time with Wright?
Yeah.
1975-76.
Orville, Wilbur, and James, right? That's okay. 110 poems in various journals and magazines, including the James Joyce Quarterly, the Journal of Irish Literature, the Holland's Critic, Classical Outlook, Writers Forum, Salonica. Didn't we do you once or twice?
Yes.
Medicinal purposes. Let's not forget that.
Oh,
that's
where's my blush?
Shame on you. Where are our manners these days? Let's see. 5 poems in the James Joyce Quarterly.
Yes.
James must really like you.
I guess.
All right. Let's see. A book outside St. Jude's. Let's see. It's poetry, right?
Yes. I hope.
Well, with you, it might be literary criticism. It's and tell you, we've had some very interesting discussions on the subject, so I can't take anything for granted anymore. Let's see.
Okay.
A website with Victor Shermer, Psychology, Literature, and the Arts. They can write in for that. You were once the editor of the Ariacht Press.
Yes.
I understand I'm very close on the pronunciation there.
Yes.
Let's see. All sorts of things. Done some teaching at Penn State, Touro College, Temple University, Hunter College. You've been all over the place.
A number of places.
Mm-hmm. And so is the poetry, too. Why don't we have a poem?
Thank you. Your uncle is dead. The phone rang. Cigar chewer, state trooper, boozer, diabetic, heart diseased, speeder of country roads, with a face like Mr. Clean, is dead, suddenly stopped. And my father is returning again into the dark mountainous north that gave his drinking fiddler father birth. My driving, driven, secret-keeping, stone-faced, inquisitional, never-grieving, emphysemic, heart-diseased, alcoholic, skull-scarred, long-fingered, long-nosed, clarinet-playing, indomitable father had called to say, your uncle is dead. He drank like your father, that skinhead and cop. I remember he yanked me into the shop of the barber, his friend, and held me squirming until the razor cropped the last of my hair. No matter now, he lies rigid, who caroused and controlled in the woods, on the roads, in his house, and in his robes. And you, another runner of risks, runner of lives, denier of both, who ran to every army tour of duty for more than 20 years, are on your way to the town that you fled after your father died as you held him, resting on the side of the road, gasping for breath, beer in your hands, having forgotten his inhaler prescriptions and cane.
That's an awful lot to lay on one's uncle. I gather you two didn't get along.
Well, before he died, we did.
Well, that's reassuring. Do you do a lot of family stuff?
Yes.
My family pays me not to write about them.
Very good.
As it happens.
A very enviable position.
That's how I earn my living. Well, part of it anyway.
Maybe I could talk to you later.
No, the jobs are filled right now. What else have you got in there?
Be happy to read another one.
Yeah. Well, we'd be happy to hear it.
Sisyphus Hill with a little epigraph. The end he had been born to serve. Portrait of the artist as a young man. Blackened, encrusted, blood of wounds on the soul's flesh. Winds spill over the face of the earth, running and racing, ripping, tearing, the hawk father unfurled on the wind, and I on Sisyphus Hill, lugging a tombstone to the top, as clouds cluster and break, sunlight and moonlight, arrows.
Very, very important to remember something about Sisyphus. You know, pushing the rock up the hill and then it rolls back down again, and pushing it all through eternity. Sisyphus was the original Greek myth explaining the creation of civil service. Because
we may well have been.
That's what a lot of those jobs are like. You may have known one yourself, right? No. That's how it goes. All right. Tell me about your teaching. What is your approach to the teaching of literature?
They usually had me teach freshman composition.
Okay.
Let them forget about literature.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So what did you tell them all? What secrets?
Writing is a process.
Yeah.
Everybody has important things to say. We work on trying to get people to discover their material, their voice, to be patient and working with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out that over 90% of Michael's students who listened to his lectures about writing as a process ultimately became process servers.
Right.
No, not quite. It isn't that. I'm sure a lot of them went on to write some remarkable material, much like what you've got in the pile there.
Thank you.
How about another poem?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hospital visit. This is a famous sick room scene. The painter is anonymous. The patient sits on the side of his bed with bowed head and slumped shoulders. In the soft lamplight, two visitors, soft and unofficial, with easy postures, have drawn chairs up to him. They have survived calamity. I know. Like them, I have made my visits. My story sometimes overcame shadows in lives that turned like flowers, and always, after visiting, I have known one more rising of the inner sun, the light like the lamp on the nightstand in the painting, golden, soft, and bearable, or like the world after fierce storm, newly washed. But when I visit you, the lamp gutters.
All right, just for a moment, I want to turn to Frank here. And now that you've been exposed to Michael Graves, and you've had a sample of the elegance I was talking about earlier, are you ready to rush right home and start writing poetry?
Well, actually, I've written some. I'm ready to stop after hearing that. He's so good.
Oh, come on.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll be glad to pass out a few tips. Michael, how about a few tips for Frank?
Well, I look forward to seeing Frank's work, and then if he feels he needs tips,
We all need tips. I mean, there are many a time I felt like putting a tip jar out on the on the show here so that we could pay for the videotape and all that.
Yeah.
Speaking of tips, we're coming to you from, by the way, the Orange Bear in Lower Manhattan on Murray Street, and we're very grateful for the space. It's a really fun place to come and hoist a few, and we even do opens here from time to time. Michael's dropped by once in a while, and we're usually very pleased to see him, like now, and we hope we can get another poem out of him.
This is a poem called Exhortation. All flesh meets anguish and apocalypse, the possessors and the dispossessed. If not God, some child, wife, parent, relative, some casual bum or boss, someone accuses us. Perhaps the secret, sacred self. Oh, have you made your list of loving acts? kneel on the cemetery grass, petitioning the progenitors. Not every man has candles against darkness. Oh, make your list of loving acts. There are faithful victims everywhere.
Candles I have. It's the matches that are a problem. What else have you got in there?
At Peniel, that's the place where Jacob wrestled with the angel in the Bible.
Who won?
Good question.
I forgot. I mean,
Well, I'll give you my answer if you want in the poem.
okay.
When Jacob had sent the fruit of his cunning ahead and was alone, I pretended to challenge his strength. There in the dark we wrestled until the red moon sank. At a touch of my hand, he lost the strength of his leg. My face to his face, more noble than Esau and wiser, I gave him the blessing. Still, he clung like a weasel, struggling to make me his captive. Smiling, I loosened his hands.
Ah, yes, wrestling the angel. I'd like to meet the referee for that.
Yeah.
Do you have one more bit of elegance that we can round out your set with?
Sure, I'd be happy to. This is a poem to the poet Weldon Keys, whose collected poems have recently been reissued and maybe issued for the first time in paperback. Keys is a much neglected poet. Keys, in your poems, images of rooms furnished with accoutrements of the middle class everyman, Robinson, full of and empty of Robinson. Robinson, reflected to himself in the blackness of the mirror's surface, even in absence. Robinson, whose childhood traumas, unspoken and unspecified, erupt into his consciousness more vividly than the glow and flashes of neon that obliterate the stars. Keys, in your great poems of Robinson, parents haunt the rooms. Saint Weldon, behind your great poems of Robinson, I see the mirror of my face and eyes.
Keys, I've always admired his Star-Spangled Banner. I know.
Criminal, Robert.
Yes, I'll pay for that later. But in the meantime, I want to thank you, Michael Graves, for coming on Poet to Poet. We'll be back in a moment with Frank Ferrara. So don't disappear on us, because we won't.
Thank you, Robert. Pleasure.